Hey, welcome back to another edition of SNG News. We're going to tell you about what's going on here at SNG Studios this last week, and we've been having a lot of fun with this. Some of you may not recognize it, but this is the gun from Laserblast that I built 40 years ago, and somewhere around here are some pictures of me with the gun. And I'm recreating it, and this gun's gonna be a little better than the one we actually had, a little cleaner and stuff, but that is the Laserblast gun, and me and the makeup working with it. So I've been recreating it and documenting the whole build for our patron subscribers at our Patreon account, where for $3 a month you can watch all kinds of videos about making monsters and airplanes and radio controlled things and props like this, and models, lots of models, like big giant robots. So this is how far I've got on the gun so far, which is pretty far. There's still a lot to do, but it's pretty well blocked out as to the way the original gun was. If you look there in those pictures, you can see it's the same gun, right down to the film can I used. So this has been a lot of fun to do and a real trip down memory lane. Over here, you can see, and I'll walk around behind here, this is a Scott Alexander kit of the moon rocket that it used to be at a place called Disneyland. I went there during the 50s. It was about 1958. And I got there, and there was this beautiful giant rocket. You can tell how big it was. Look at the leg compared to the people sitting there. And I stood right at the base of this and looked at it in awe. And you see the base is the same, and this is the same railing that went around it. This kit is beautiful. It comes with all the templates necessary. And you watched me build one of these a while ago. I don't know if you remember or not. Here's the actual kit. It's quite a good size, and we're building this for Bob Burns. Bob Burns has been wanting one of these for the longest time, probably for the same reasons I did, because he stood underneath that rocket at Disneyland and looked at it, and it's just one of those things that just changes your world, changes your life. You're just like, wow, this is so amazing. I've got to be part of this somehow. And since then, we all have been, to this day. It comes with this beautiful brass, I guess you would call it the cockpit canopy, which fits on here like so. I'm going to light this up, light up the engines, and Gary Hughes is going to help me build this. We're going to do a 2-day build. It might actually be a 3-day, 2-day build. And Tom, Model Man Tom. You've been all asking about Model Man Tom. Model Man Tom's very much with us, and still doing all the stuff that he loves to do. You can see how this is in 2 parts. And he's going to help us build this too. So it's going to be the 3 of us. Gary Hughes, Model Man Tom, real name is Tom Piedmont, myself, Steve Neill, you know who I am, and then we're going to take this and present it to Bob Burns. And there's a rumor that, Adam Savage is going to join us, if his schedule permits. So we're looking forward to this, and we're going to document this entire build and turn the whole thing into a little mini documentary. It'll probably be 30, 40 minutes long, building it, and then of course taking it to Bob, and this will be shown to the public for free.
Who makes this kit?
Who makes this kit? I've already said Scott Alexander. They also call him Captain Cardboard, who makes all kinds of amazing things. And I know some of you will be scratching your head, but when you think about the big discovery from 2001, he makes a 5-footer and I think an 8-footer. They're beautiful. I know Jeff Proteus has one. And in fact, Greg Nicotero at K&B Effects has one. When I went there to see him, he had one of the big 8-footers hanging from the ceiling, and they are just gorgeous. I'd love to have one, but there's just not the room. So he's the one that made this kit, and there's rumor that he's making an even bigger one, but we'll talk about that later on. And as you know, I'm still working on Star Trek Sirius that was started back in 2011. My late wife, Jillian, she wrote the screenplay, or as most of you know her as Jilly, and in fact her voice is in it as the ship's computer We're I'm finally single-handedly doing all the effects and finishing the edit, which I restored. I think we talked about this a while ago, and I've had to restore it again because we found there were problems with the lip sync all off. But it's coming out rather well. And over here in the new 2018 Lightwave, which I now have, this is right now it's rendering, and you can see down in here the actual render. This is not a render. This is OpenGL, as they call it. And I built this dry dock that looks more like something they would have had in TOS. It's not a lot of curves in it and stuff, kind of boxy and framework-like, because the one we had before was actually the one from Star Trek, the motion picture, and it just was too new and too modern. So this is looking really good. These effects are taking a very long time to render. I've got two machines going. I got another one over here rendering another scene of the dry dock from a different angle. So it's great having two machines taking care of these effects. Probably in a few weeks I'll have the whole show done, and I'm going to release that for free too. Obviously I have to. It's about 20 minutes long. I know that breaks the 15-minute rule, but this was done before that rule had been set. So in addition to that, we, as always, have our podcasts. You'll want to check them out by following the link below me. This week we had the lovely Lisa Hensel joining us, who I've known for quite a while, and Mary is known as well. She's an incredibly talented person who's done everything from makeup to producing her own movie that actually has John Delancey in it, among many other amazing actors who became part of this short film that she's made. I believe it's called The Last Train, which I can't wait to see. I had no idea she was making a film. I've been kind of out of touch with all the things we've been doing here. But she was here for our podcast. You can listen to that now. It was amazing. We had a really, really good time with her. And we have the amazing Belle Daly coming here next week, who is a magician and a beautiful lady, a very talented lady who's also going to be on our podcast. And we have Model Man Tom. You remember Model Man Tom. Hey everybody, it's Model Man Tom. He is going to be here so he can answer all your questions about where he's been, because he's been going through a lot of things. He's fine, and you get to hear all about it. And hopefully he'll talk about the Godzilla suit that his wife made, which is the most amazing Godzilla suit I've ever seen a cosplayer, anybody make. I mean, I had no idea she did such amazing stuff. So you'll be able to see that, or at least hear about it too. So I don't think I'm forgetting anything. No? Mary says I'm not forgetting anything. As always, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for being part of everything we do here at SNG. We really love you, and we'll see you next week.